Hey, folks, this is the podcast of True American. We are bringing back Pastor Matt Singleton. He's running for the Board of Education. I'm really pleased to have him on because I think it's terribly important that people like him and he in particular give us updates about how they're doing. And the elections are just around the corner. Isn't it November 8th, Pastor, when we go to the
Yes.
polls?
Yeah, November 8th. I think you can vote early, but I'm not really a fan of that. But yeah, the 3 or 4 days, I think. You
All
vote
right.
early.
So folks, let's get it in gear. Let's listen to as many of these candidates we can so we can make an informed decision. Now, brother, you're running for the Board of Education. They say you can only run on that as a nonpartisan. What district are you running in, and who are you running against?
I am running in the 5th district, and generally, I would say that would be like, let's say Churchill Downs, Wyandotte, Iroquois Park, a little bit of Outer Loop, a little bit of Valley Station, all of Fairdale, a little bit of Hillview, and and another touch of Valley Station.
Okay.
So,
All right. Pretty good size, it sounds like. And who are you running against? Who's the incumbent?
the incumbent is Linda Duncan.
Okay.
And she's been around probably the longest of all of them. And also Greg Pachetti.
Okay. Now, Lyndon, let's sort of focus on the main person, Lyndon Duncan, the incumbent. What are some of the issues you have with her?
Okay, basically, I think Linda's one of those types who they start off conservative, then they get more liberal and more liberal and more liberal. So at this point, everybody's recognized her as a liberal, with the exception of at least as far as her platform, she stands up high on security issues. Otherwise, it's just straight line left wing. And she also spearheaded the movement to force the I always call it the gag, like the masking, and also the jab, use force those medications and stuff on people. That's a big issue with her. She is extremely liberal fiscally, and she wants to keep on making more school buildings and having kids go to school as early as 2 years old. And
okay.
Also, the issue of the child pornography in the libraries. Linda says that she's against that, and she would never let that happen, except when she did let that happen and voted for it. So, those are kind of some of the big spearhead issues with her. My other opponent, Greg Pachetti, he's been endorsed by Republican groups, but this is kind of more of your mainline or mainstream, more liberalish Republicans. So he's good also about the issue of school choice. I do think school choice, however, needs to be modified. It never was. They never used something called brain cells for it, but but basically I've got some ideas to modify it so that it's something that's secure that we can do. But yet still he does go for that. He talks about discipline. That's nice. And so that's kind of about where he's at. He's not really saying very much about fiscal issues, and he's not saying anything about the issues of when we talk about the standardized test issue. Both him and Linda, they want to say, well, there's a racial gap, but they don't want to talk about how the fact that the white scores are pretty bad as well. And in fact, in the school that's 5 minutes and 30 seconds walking away from me, Iroquois Park is only a 7% reading level with all students. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Folks, this is the True American podcast. We're interviewing Matt Singleton. He's running there for Board of Education. He's outlined just very quickly some of the issues he has with his opponents in order to distinguish himself from them. Now, brother, what are some issues that let's say you're on the board tomorrow. What are one or two issues you're going to say, hey, look, we need to get on this right now?
We need a massive tax cut, as well as cutting a lot of our massive pathetic spending.
Okay.
Okay. That's the first issue. And then the second issue is going to be standardized test scores. But the reason why this is because not only we are wasting massive amounts of money, we're killing our economy. Okay. Our economy is in a free fall as it is. We're about to have the Ford plant scheduled to leave. I mean, and then we drive away with high taxation. We drive away the businesses. Then we drive away all the wealthy citizens. And so who gets left with the tax burden? Okay, it's the common citizen, and we have a pathetic education to show for it. Our literacy, our math, our science is being crippled right now. And of course, they're teaching us things that are extremely stupid and extremely evil, teaching all these things to the kids instead of teaching them how to be job ready and proficient. And I think that the massive amounts of money coming from the federal government, what you're really seeing is a corruption almost as bad as cocaine. When they start getting all this massive amount of money, they start going into very ungodly directions. And so if you want to kick the devil between the legs, you got to aim for the back pocket. And so that's the first place to go. And go ahead.
So one thing that you're seeing is you want to be more fiscally, you want the Board of Education to be more fiscally responsible.
Yes.
And that basically means, hey, not only do we have to be careful on what we're spending the money on, why we're spending the money on it. We got to make sure the money is producing results. And you're saying the main thing that the Board of Education should be focused on is producing positive education outcomes for all students. But you're not ignoring the fact that, Black and brown students are really there at the bottom, but you're also saying the whole ship has holes in it. Everybody is pretty much at the bottom.
Take my kid from, 14% all the way up to 40%. Hold on. That's failure. Okay. That means 60% of the kids are still failing. Okay. That's a con. Okay. That is a con. You say, no, you have these higher expectations, not lower expectations.
Right. And you see a connection between, hey, we have to educate, we have to graduate students who can read and write, at grade level. Otherwise, we're not going to, companies aren't going to be able to stay around because, hey, we need an educated workforce.
Bad graduates bring bad jobs, and we need to aim higher in Louisville than just warehouse. Okay. I mean, I've got friends who are missionaries who make a lot of money going out west, witnessing to people, and then just getting regular jobs and earning 2 or 3 times what we get. Okay. We really desperately need this. And that's the whole power source for everything. The other thing is that when I do school choice, I want to do a school choice through this massive tax cut. And so what we would do is, let's say you get your tax cut and you have a kid and you say, I want to help out my kid. Well, you know what? Not only can you get your tax cut to them, but we can bundle. We can take your sisters, your brother, your cousin Lou, the guy down the street, and get people to volunteer to put these together. And then you get full tuition for all these kids. And the next thing is that it's secure that way because it's in your hands. When you say, oh, I'll have the government juggle it, well, then the government's ultimately just going to give the money to the schools. And then they'll do something where they say, oh, by the way, we got to make sure that you're following all the requirements of education. And they'll cut everything that makes Christian schools and homeschools successful. They will cut off. They do this to all sorts of Christian ministries who accept government money. It happens all the time.
Okay,
so that's
I see.
What about that.
Right. I can appreciate your concern on that. Now, look, first of all, let me say again, this is a True American Podcast. I'm your host. Look, people, please subscribe to my channel so we can keep on being able to bring on people like Pastor Matt, talking about his campaign. He's campaigning for the Board of Education. Now, brother, we got a couple more minutes, but before I go to my next question, could you let us know how we can donate to your campaign, how we can learn more about your campaign. You got a website or anything like that?
MJ Singleton, District 5, Schoolboard, JCPS.
Mhm.
That's where we have like all the ideas and stuff. Because I mean, like I was looking at my idea list and I was like, instead of ABC, it's like A through K.
Mhm.
Okay. That's great that I have a lot of ideas, but it's also hard to get into them. So you check out that stuff. Also, I just give out my phone number because I am purely transparent. So my
Okay.
number is 2-380-7368. We're starting to get out the yard signs. I've been working with some friends, Bob DeVore. I've got somebody else I'm going to be taking money for. Basically, I got a regular yard sign that I'm starting to put out right now. And then we've got a interesting yard sign where my wife is a painter.
Mhm.
And it has painted a good fall pumpkin theme and stuff. And a lot of people like her stuff. So
Right.
basically, we're going to make that our yard sign.
Right.
So that's going to be coming out soon. But let me tell you the big deal. The big deal is word of mouth, talking to people. And I have, and I don't know if my opponents have done any of this at all, but I have gone door to door to 2,600 homes.
Mm.
I have also set my literature out to 32 local businesses, all in the 5th district.
Wow.
And I'll be hitting a lot more. I guess a comparison is that the top campaigner right now is thankfully conservative in our state, and that would be Jared Bowman. And he's got somewhere near 6,000. That's with a team. I'm liking doing this on my own. I've only done like maybe 88 houses have been done by friends, but the rest is just my feet.
Okay.
And the reason is because people need to know that you're real, that you care, and that you're going to deal with them. And
Exactly.
I have been to the rich communities and I've been to very poor communities. I've seen the homeless and I've seen the wealthy. And
so one thing about your campaign is that you not only, it sounds like not only you're going to be transparent, but you're going to be accessible.
Yes.
Right. And I say that because I've heard some people complain about sitting members of the board, and they will write them, they'll email them, and they'll get no response. And then sometimes when they do get a response, it's a very snarky, condescending response, which I can't understand that, but it happens.
Especially there are people who are leading in our movement who have been cussed out. And I mean, this is like written email. I mean, that's always like the stupidest thing to me, to like write out something dumb. You can actually correct yourself and not, lose your temper.
Right. Right. I hear that. Brother, one more time, let people know how they can reach you. You gave a phone number and a website. Do that for us one more time.
Okay, let me make sure. I'm going to try to get this right, but my phone number is 502-380-7368.
Okay.
Then my Facebook group is MJ Singleton District 5. It's actually not district. I'll say DIST 5 School Board JCPS.
Okay. All right, folks. So you heard it for yourself, straight from the candidate. Folks, please listen to this interview, not once, not twice, but several times. Share it with your friends and ask your friends to share it with people. I just honestly believe the candidates who are not incumbents just don't get enough exposure, and they should get the exposure because, based upon what Pastor Matt has said so far, I mean, really, it's good stuff. I mean, who doesn't think we should be fiscally responsible? Who doesn't want a candidate? Who doesn't want a public official who isn't transparent and accessible? How can you have anything less than great respect for a person who goes out there and knocks on that many doors and distributes that many flyers and visits that many local businesses? So please, get this interview out there and like this channel so I can keep on getting more, giving exposure to more folks like this. Brother, appreciate it, man. Keep in touch.
This is a local district election. It's not Congress. It's not the government. It's not impossible. There is no poll taken yet as far as who's winning what. So all we do is vote. That you don't worry about the money more than anything. You got to get people to vote. That's
Right.
what's important. God bless you.
You heard him. Thank you, brother. Vote.